What's up everybody, Dylan Frazier here, Selkirk sponsored pickleball player, and today we're discussing mastering the soft game. This is actually part 5, and this part is we're going to be discussing advanced dinking techniques. So once you kind of master the basics of dinking, and again to kind of give a quick recap of the first 4 videos, it was making sure that your paddle head comes straight down, you're dinking from a low to high motion with the ball going over the net with plenty of space so that you're not going to miss over time. And then we discussed having a paddle position out in front or paddle head up, favoring the backhand a little bit for those speed ups, the advantage of dinking cross court and having more space to work with, and then how to cover the court. Now we're going to talk about kind of how to work the dink point to your advantage to put you in a favorable position to win the point. And as always, if you want to become a better pickleball player, make sure you subscribe to Selkirk TV and see their latest podcast and lesson content. Okay. So advanced dinking techniques, it's still, all the basics are the same. I'm still going to be wanting to lean in at the kitchen line here. I'm in my athletic stance. I've got my paddle up here in my ready position. And I'm always going to try to hit dinks out of the air if I can to steal time away from my opponents. But as far as how do I get to a spot where I have the advantage in a dink rally, well, a lot of times that involves generating what we call a dead dink or a pop-up or a miss. And so if obviously a miss, we're going to win the points, but if we get a pop-up or a pop-up that we're able to attack, that's a great situation for us. And if we get a dead dink, that's also a good situation for us. Okay, so when I'm sitting here dinking with my hitting partners, Bethany and Scott, I'm going to try to put the ball in a spot where they're going to pop it up. And oftentimes that just involves moving the ball around a lot. So I usually try not to target the same spot any more than 2 times in a row, because if you start going to a spot too consistently, if your opponents are good enough, they're going to start cheating to that spot, and then you're going to have less space to work with, and they're going to be able to attack your shot a little more easily. Another thing that puts you kind of in a favorable position is topspin dinks. So once you kind of master this basic dink low to high motion, you can start working on developing your topspin dink. And again, it starts from the same position, paddle head down, and I'm just kind of lifting up on the ball like this. I'm not really brushing like tennis, like in tennis where you kind of brush like that. Not so much like that when you're dinking in pickleball. You're kind of just going from low to high with your body, and that's what generates the topspin for you. I can go cross court like that too. Topspin dinks are pretty deadly because they when they come over the net, they are dropping, and so if your opponents are reaching in and trying to attack out of the air, sometimes it's easy to misjudge because the ball's got the topspin on it, so it's dropping quickly to them. And sometimes that causes them to speed up balls below the net, which is not good because they're going to speed up from low to high, and your opponents are going to counter high to low. And so the topspin dinks also allows you to move it around the kitchen line a little bit more quickly than as compared to if I'm just dinking flatly. If I dink flat right here, I can do this very consistently, but I can't get the ball to him very quickly as compared to if I dinked more like that. Okay, and so it's not always it's not always an appropriate time to use a topspin dink. You generally want to save it for balls that are not moving too far to your left or too far to your right, or they're not too penetrating in the kitchen. And in those situations, you'd want to use more of like your flat basic dink technique that we covered in the first video, just because you're going to be more consistent with that. If you try to topspin a dink that's moving to the left really quickly or moving to the right really quickly or is deep, you're going to have a hard time doing that. It's more so for balls that, like, for example, this one that I'm about to dink to Scott. It's not moving too far to his left or right. It's pretty shallow in the kitchen. That's going to be a ball that's going to be easy to topspin dink. As far as where I target for my topspin dinks, I'm going to target kind of the open space. And so if Bethany, I'm going to have Bethany kind of move closer to the middle here. If the ball's on my sideline right here, ideally Scott's going to be covering his line and Bethany's going to be covering the middle here. And so a lot of times the cross court topspin dink is available from this position. So I might take a ball right here and go all the way cross court like that, which is going to be difficult for Bethany to handle. You have to be careful not to hit it too wide, because sometimes if they're fast enough, they'll be able to hit the ATP. But just generally speaking, I'm looking for opportunities to hit aggressive topspin dinks. Usually they land a little bit closer to the kitchen line, and they just put more pressure on your opponent. So I'm going to dink around a little bit with Scott and Bethany here, and we're going to see if I get any opportunities to hit topspin dinks. So this is a good one. I can topspin dink that. I can topspin dink this one down the line, this one cross court. And what that forces your opponents to do is kind of play a reset dink back to you, because it's very difficult to topspin dink a ball that was hit to you with topspin. Okay, and so oftentimes when players or opponents are receiving a topspin dink, your best play is kind of to go for that reset dink back to the center of the court, and that's going to allow you to kind of stay in control of the point and continue to hitting topspin dinks. And so now I'm going to just hit a few more of these topspin dinks. That one I would play more of a reset type dink because it was pretty good. This one, we're going to freeze it right there. So that's oftentimes the ball that is generated with a good topspin dink. From this position right here, I can continue to stay on offense with the topspin dink out wide to Stephanie's left foot. I can topspin dink aggressively to the middle here. I can go back to the right of Scott if I want to. I could also speed up through the middle or speed up right at Bethany or Scott if I want to. The point being that I've got a lot of options from this position right here because of that topspin dink that I just hit, okay? That's gonna keep your opponents on their heels a little bit, and eventually you're gonna find an opportunity or a hole that you can attack, okay? So now we're just gonna run a few points where we're dinking around a little bit. If they hit a good dink to me, I'm just gonna play a reset dink. I'm not gonna try to force a topspin dink because again, I'm still trying to be consistent. I'm gonna wait for good opportunities to go for the topspin dink. And then once they give me that sitter, then I'm either gonna attack or hit another topspin dink to remain in the driver's seat, essentially. Okay, so here are some examples of dinking with topspin. And so right there, I got a ball that I was able to attack. I could have easily gone topspin dink back to Bethany's left foot out wide. I could have come across to Scott here. There's just a lot of spots that they have to cover, which makes it very difficult for them to respond to that attack, okay? We're gonna run a few more points here. I'm still trying to lean in at the kitchen line if I can. I decided to just dink that one. Here we go. There, I got a pop-up opportunity. I'm still trying to lean at the kitchen line so that I can take advantage of those opportunities. Here we go. A few more here. And you can see the problems that the topspin dinks create because the ball gets to you a little bit faster. It's dropping quickly, so it's hard to volley out of the air and attack. And you just have less time in general to respond to these dinks. Here we go, I'm moving it around a little bit. I should have hit that one out of the air. This one I will. There's an opportunity to attack. I missed the first opportunity to attack because I backed off the line. And that's one thing that you have to be careful of when you're hitting these topspin dinks, because generally speaking, it's easier to hit the topspin dink if you give yourself more space in front of your body. And so sometimes what happens is you find yourself backing off the line and giving up those opportunities to attack out of the air. So make sure that you're still leaning in at the kitchen line and saving the topspin dinks for the balls that are more dead or landing kind of shallow in the kitchen.